Hey guys, it's LS, and here I'm going to be making a lesson on Pantheon. A lesson is not a guide, so don't expect to see things inside of this, like build itemization for particular situations, where don't expect to see like specific thought processes exactly detailed to a multitude of situations. Basically, the goal of this video will be to outline my thought process throughout a game as Pantheon. This is Diamond MMR on Korea server, and I'll be trying to take you through all of my thought processes, why I do the things that I do, and then we can kind of just go from there. As you can see on the screen right now, my Pantheon is one of my main champions, I guess, as of late, and I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of him, and I kind of want to share that knowledge with the community and stuff, so here we go. Video right here is going to be taken straight from my Twitch. Sadly, I could not get a replay of this game working in particular because it kept crashing inside of the LoL client, which I'm totally unsure as to why. But hopefully this'll do. But I apologize for the quality of the video in advance. So obviously, first thing you want to do is you just want to get the machete and 4 potions. If you're playing Pantheon and you don't recognize anyone from your previous game in the match, I would almost always recommend doing the 155 late invade and taking W. The reason that you'll take W is because of the stun and the base damage that it grants you. When you synergize it with 2 auto attacks, equates to roughly the same amount of damage that you could do with the Q if you were invading, but it enables you to get a gap close on. It also allows your team to follow up, and then it can create for some really pressured moments, especially if the jungle buff is still leashed onto the enemy jungler. So all that I typed in chat was, as you can see here, down here, all I said is 155, go go, and I said I'm going to take W first, just so that my team knows exactly what's going on. And then I just reaffirm that 155 is going to be the go-to thing. So at this point, it's just kind of like a waiting game right now. It's really good if your top laner is able to help out, but sometimes they can get set behind if they don't have teleport. In this case, Rumble doesn't have teleport, so it would kind of be a little bit bad for him to assist with the invade. But if your top laner is running teleport, it's pretty good to kind of insist that they should accompany you on the invade. And at this point, it's just kind of a waiting game. You don't want to do anything like going into vision or going out of the bush. Just kind of keep your eyes on the minimap, make sure that no one comes into vision. If you're unsure if anyone ever came into vision, you can open up tab like you're going to see me do in a second. And this is all that I mean. If someone would have came into vision somewhere and you somehow missed it with your minimap eye or just anything, you can just check tab, and if they did, then you would end up seeing items inside of their inventory right here. So at this point, we just go out of vision in case they try to drop a ward in the brush, or if Ezreal or Soraka comes up, because I still want to go with the invade, which is what I typed down here right now. I just say it's okay, which this is abbreviated. So at this point, I still initiate a ping. You should always communicate with pings when you're playing with your teammates. I ping LeBlanc, as you could just see from behind. I pinged her here, and then I pinged behind the enemy blue buff because I want her to flank. Always communicate with pings whenever you're doing something. So I'm going in first, and I opt to jump onto Soraka. And the reason that I opt to jump on Soraka is because of a few reasons. So in this moment, okay, when Soraka is this far forward, okay, and Ezreal is back here, and the jungle is still on to Vi, but I have LeBlanc right here. Okay, LeBlanc, the jungler, if he wants to come out, has to go in a very clear route that it will enable my allies from behind to catch up and be able to hit them as they're going through the brush. By stunning Soraka, I enable my allies time to catch up onto Soraka, and even if she flashes backwards, she's not too far behind Ezreal if she flashes in this current moment. At that point, the CC that's basically being provided by my teammates and myself just from being there and coming in from multiple locations causes a lot of panic. And the fact that LeBlanc's coming in from behind means that the enemy jungler, or I'm sorry, the enemy mid laner, Malzahar, can't come in from behind. Because if he does, then he opens himself up to me just standing somewhere over here. I still have flash available, and I could W onto him with the flash or something after I steal blue buff. So it's really, really risky. So there's so much pressure being applied in so many places at once, and with Vel'Koz and Lucian coming up, if Soraka goes to here, and then Vel'Koz shoots, he's potentially able to hit Vi plus Soraka, or he's able to get just Soraka plus Ezreal. In the worst case scenario or something here, we're just not going to get a kill, but we should secure blue buff given that LeBlanc's flanking from behind, and that they're basically going to be forced out through Tribrush. After every single auto attack, you want to start initiating movement commands immediately after or during the attack so that you don't allow Riot's coding to have any sort of pathing or any sort of control inside of what's going on. You always want to be in control of your champion. That's something that I refer to as DI. And at this point, Soraka being stunned where she was and being in the situation that she was in, it kind of allowed for everything to just kind of fall into place. If Vi here elected to kind of flash over, LeBlanc would have been here, in which case we probably wouldn't kill Vi, nor would we kill Ezreal, but most likely would still kill Soraka because it would enable all the focus and attention to be onto Soraka, and I would probably just secure blue buff. Malzahar comes over, and when I see Malzahar coming over from this location, my initial thought process is just to kind of go down to here. And the reason that I want to go down to here is because if Malzahar flashes for me, I can simply just go right. If he doesn't flash for me, I obviously just want to pull the buff down as far away from Vi as I possibly can, so that it's pulled away from the trees so that she can't smite it over the other line. Additionally, if Malzahar doesn't come over and Vi goes over to the left trying to hope to get a smite onto the blue buff, Ezreal can't hit me with anything. So there's no way for him to kill me, despite my mana being relatively low. But nonetheless, I still pop a potion just because I don't want to put anything up to risk her chance. So now Vi died, and when Ezreal makes that misstep right here, okay, so you kind of have to pounce. So Ezreal tries to move forward, and I know the range on my W plus my flash, and I know that if we get Ezreal here, then Lucian's end up going to lane, and he's going to have level 3 before Ezreal even has 2. Because my teammates are still relatively healthy on their mana and their HP, it's not likely that they're going to be recalling after this invade occurs, in which case I'm completely content with blowing my flash and just using my W again, because my mana will be replenished anyway through taking the blue buff, since I'm starting at Vi's blue. So just capitalizing on Ezreal, sending him back to the fountain, getting him to lane so late, and enabling my teammates to have a 2-level advantage inside of bot lane is really, really crucial. It's also really important when you're doing stuff like this to know the damage outputs of all your allies. Now, a lot of people here might try to run up as fast as they can up to the forest, hoping that Malzahar tries to cast another spell. If he does that, then yes, in some cases I would be able to W over Malzahar. But at that point, it would create what I call is a extended invade, which is really bad in some cases, but really good in others. In the event of an extended invade, at this point, Soraka as well as Vi would probably be coming very shortly out of the fog of war, and it can cause for some pretty big turmoil, I guess, for my team, in the sense that blue buff still is relatively healthy. I do still have smite, but I'm low on HP, so is Vel'Koz, and so is LeBlanc. So I just tell my teammates, good job, and now I immediately go to my red. As you can see, when I'm going to my red, I use the F keys to look around the map. So I check on Nar's HP, how Nar's playing the lane. I notice that Soraka is going to clear the blue buff for Vi. So when I see Soraka going to clear the blue buff for Vi, okay, my initial thought process is that Vi went like this. Okay, so Vi has one of two options. She can either go like this, or she can take an alternative route, which would be to go like this. Okay, if she does take this route, the orange route, okay, she's going to be finishing my blue buff around when I would be arriving to the blue buff. And that's primarily because of her death timer, in consideration to the fact of her movement speed when walking out of base, in consideration to the items that she started. So it's also really important when you're playing jungle to be playing a mind game with the enemy jungler. Because you're a jungler, you don't have to work on mechanics such as CSing, and you don't have to work on lane psychology, lane movements, and basically anticipating when the enemy jungler will be coming for you and how to play the lane. Instead, you have to always be cognitive of exactly where the enemy jungler is standing at all points, points so that you can maximize your efficiency on counter ganks, counter jungling, and then optimal jungle efficiency. So meanwhile, while I'm just moving throughout the lanes, I'm continuing to use the F keys because it doesn't cost me anything. It's really easy to read the screen in that amount of time, and there's so much information to be gained out of it. When you're using W on a jungle creep, it's usually always good to use it when they're going for their attack animation so that it would cancel the animation, and thus you actually get more HP. When you're attacking little creeps with Pantheon, you always want to kind of split up the auto attack so that the burn is able to have a full effect before reactivating the burn. Here I'm moving to blue, so I again just throw up a quick round of F keys to check on my laners. Some people may think that I can't actually understand or read what the screen is saying to me when I do that, but coming from StarCraft 2 I can, and if you do it long enough inside of normals, you'll also be able to pick up on reading a screen that quick. I should also note that when you're doing something like that, you should already have a preconceived notion of what you're looking for in the lane just by glancing at the minimap. Obviously, if I'm going to F-key to bot lane right now, I can see where the minions are and I can see where the champions are. So I know that as soon as I press the F key, my eyes are going to be on the upper portion of the screen. And what I mean by that is I know that because of how the minimap is, okay, when I F-key to this screen, I know that the screen will land on Lucian, and so I'm only going to be focusing my eyes to the top part of the screen right here. It's not as hard to read just this amount of the screen as it would be to read everything that I'm possibly seeing, which isn't the case. So I get here, and as soon as I get here and I see exactly what's going on, okay, the jungle creep isn't moving, and it's 3:30. If Vi was going to clear this on her own, okay, and she was going to do it without a leash or an assistance from Gnar, and she was going to smite it and just auto-attack and do everything else, okay? She's going to kill the big creep first, and then she's going to kill the little creep. In relation to how Malzahar played mid lane, I probably know that Vi is not over here at this current time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to elect to skip blue, because if she was clearing blue, this minion would probably be chasing, and / its HP would be resetting. So what you're going to see me do is I'm just going to auto it. I decide at this point, hey, she's actually not here. She just left a few seconds ago because the minion had time to fully reset. So I'm just going to go straight to her red buff. I see Gnar come down for what looked to be like it was going to be a ward placement off the F key, and then I decided that he wasn't going to be warding that. As I'm going through here, okay, you can notice that my eyes are centered on mid lane, okay, because you can see my eyes are looking at the minimap. Okay, all I'm looking for as I move through this jungle is I'm looking to see Malzahar's movement on the minimap. If he reacts to me moving into this jungle, I know that it's warded, and I can properly ping to my top laner and my mid laner to follow me through into Vi's jungle. I'm getting ready, and I'm probably spamming W at this point. So even in the fog of war, I'm getting ready to use W. I see Vi. The first thing I want to do is, as soon as I see Vi, I just want to look at her HP, and I want to get her avatar selected. I also want to see how long the duration on her potions left remaining. I want to see her mana so that I know, where it's always standing. It's really important to have the enemy's avatar selected at all times so that you're able to properly know the damage output and how an extended trade will go. I always throw the Q before the W if you initiate both commands at the same time, just by pressing on them. About 0.1 second difference with the ring finger plus the middle finger. You're able to cast both spells at the same time. As you'll notice, as I land on her with the W, I'll begin rapidly clicking a movement or a direction, even though the W is still channeled technically. And through doing that, again, it writes over Riot's coding. Even if it only makes a 0.1 second of a difference, it is a difference. And what separates pro players, amateurs, great players, good players, etc., is these microscopic advantages that are accumulated throughout the entire duration of a match. So as you can see here, even though the auto has already been done, I'm initiating click commands to move into her, because I want to maximize the red buff's efficiency. I know that if I throw a Q at this point, because of the gap that she's gotten on me, If I were to have thrown a Q from right here rather than issuing the auto attack, she would get too far away for me to actually kill her. I knew because of her avatar and her HP value that I needed to land one more red buff slow that I could get in range to do the maximum amount of damage that would actually end up killing her precisely. If I would have thrown a Q at any one of these intervals when I was trying to continue to DI onto her and issue auto attacks to proc the red buff slow, she would have escaped. Here, I kind of realized Malzahar just used one of his abilities. So the first thing that I'm thinking is I can smite this, okay, because it counts as a minion. And then I know that Malzahar is on cooldown and he's only level 3. So if he had any other abilities that would have been able to kill me or something, he probably would have already started using them. So I kind of determined that Malzahar cannot kill me. Now knowing that I have red buff plus blue buff, I elect to try to kill him, especially because my passive is going to come up. I can't kill him, but I do manage to get him out of the lane, and now LeBlanc's here to back me up. I just saw that the missing ping went down in top lane. So I know that at this point, Gnar's probably going to be coming in from the jungle, and he's going to be coming in from one of two routes. He's either going to come in from this route, in which case he'll show up from the Fog of War here, or he'll come in from this route. Because of the likelihood of him coming in from the bottom route is probably more probable due to the fact that Malzahar was trying to fight me right here. So if Gnar were to come from up here, it would enable me room to get to LeBlanc. So it's very likely that Gnar will be coming in from the bottom route rather than the top route, to kind of cut me off and cut LeBlanc off and accomplish two things at once. When I see Gnar here, my first thought process is to just get here so that it creates the Fog of War. Gnar can't see any of this, even though I'm right here. So I just want to wait here for him to advance forward onto LeBlanc, thinking maybe he can kill her due to her HP value. And then I just want to wait until he's inside of my W range. I can still even move up to here, and then I can W onto Gnar and kill him. At this point, when I kill Gnar, I also know that Vi is probably not able to make it back to red buff in time, despite me not having Smite from having used it on Malzahar's minion, or I guess there's not a better name for that. Pet. There you go. Because I know that Gnar's not here, and because I know that the only routes that Vi would be taking to get back into red buff is either to come through Wraiths or to come through the brush in between Golems and red buff, I just elect to go through the top lane brush. Because I know that there's no way for anyone to possibly get there to kill me or interrupt my movement path. At this point, my HP is still relatively healthy, and I have Smite coming up. But I'm going to clear blue buff first, because obviously I don't want to have that wasted on my timer. It's important to know when your red buff will kill the jungle creep minions so that you're able to walk away and maximize efficiency. So here again, you want to spread the red buffs over the minions. And then as you can see here, my gold is approaching 1675, which is the jungler item. So I'm going to be really greedy because I know that Vi is not in a position to counter jungle me or to gank a lane or to really do anything at this point. So I feel completely safe to do Wraiths into Golems, which I know will get me the jungler item, Spirit of the Elder Lizard. Because of Pantheon's passive, I rotate attacks between the small minions and the big minion. And I kill the small minions periodically while still focusing on the big minion, because of the passive will block the attack from the big minion. So Pantheon's a little bit different from some junglers, that it's more optimal to kill the small minion before the big minion. At this point, I just get Spirit of the Elder Lizard, and I begin to go back into the lanes. While I'm going back into the lanes, I F-key around. I see that Rumble obviously killed Gnar because that shows up on the right-hand side. And then I looked at bottom lane, and it looked relatively safe. So at this point, when I open up tab, I'm just checking on the CS, and I'm checking on the jungle items that everyone has, and also the items that the laners have. I saw that Lucian just died, and I saw that Vi was top lane, so I tried going top lane, but I noticed that Rumble got the kill on Vi anyway. So when this happens, and I FK around, and I see that, okay, well, there's no way for me to do anything bot lane. There's really no way for me to do anything mid, at this current time anyway. My top laner's dead. He's not going to be top for a little while, especially because he doesn't have teleport. So I'm trying to basically factor in what can I do in terms of jungle movements and jungle pathing. Well, my only goal right now is to hit 6. So you're going to see me go from white to the next jungle camp to the next jungle camp. But because I saw Vi die to Rumble, I'm going to take this opportunity to counter jungle Vi, because I know that she's dead and I know Malzahar can't do anything about it. So I'm always looking for ways to get ahead. But then when I looked at mid really quick with an F key, I noticed that Malzahar was stepping a little bit inappropriately. So I changed my decision to go on to mid, especially because of LeBlanc's W and the E. I know that we can kill Malzahar relatively easily. I know that now I also still have time to kill Vi, because if Vi is going to be standing anywhere at this point in time, it's probably just going to be here, here, or here in relation to her death timer. Because I don't know if she somehow is going to come out of the fog of war because she got like MOBA boots or something, I do place the ward and I elect to use smite relatively early. Now though, because I have 6, I go top lane, because if Vi now does come into Wraiths and she goes to Golems, her next route would be top again. Especially because Gnar is considered probably her winning lane in a sense. Because Malzahar is falling really far behind against the LeBlanc. She can't really do anything in bot lane with an Ezreal Soraka, so Gnar is considered the only thing that's really gankable. That's also something that I guess I could have talked about inside of the loading screen, as thinking about how the lanes will go in consideration to the jungler. It's really important when you're playing jungle to understand your 2v2, 3v3, 4v4, 5v5 dynamics. So at this point, I just want to recall. We had a successful gank at top lane, and Malzahar goes back mid, and now I know that Vi is probably somewhere on the right-hand side of the map, which she does end up showing up, and everyone pings that. I just get boots so that I'm able to have mobility, and now I get blue trinket, and this is something that you'll probably begin to hear me talk about a lot if you watch my future coaching videos or if I make any analysis comments or anything on Twitter. I have a very strong, opinionated belief that blue trinket is actually proper as the mid to late game transition item for the jungler. The reasoning behind that is because it enables you to counter gank, it enables you to counter jungle more safely, and then on top of that, it's really important for objective securing. I think blue trinket has way more potency than red trinket on the jungler at specific points inside of the match, but it will probably be dependent on the jungler in some cases. Because I see that they're sticking around in bot lane, and because I know that Gnar isn't going to be around at top anytime soon, there's really no way for me to gank anything. I do have ult, so by putting my pressure on the bottom right-hand side of the map, I'm able to both cover LeBlanc and cover bot lane with my man drop. I saw that they weren't going to elect to stay, and I saw Vi going into blue. So because Vi doesn't have blue buff here, I know that she's going to probably give it to Malzahar, especially because he disappeared off mid lane. So I initiate the ping to try to communicate to LeBlanc, but it probably wasn't enough pings. I should have probably pinged 3 or like maybe 4 times to kind of communicate to LeBlanc. But LeBlanc had been following my pings up until that point, so I kind of thought we were on the same page for what the pings meant. She might have just thought they were getting blue, so this is my mistake as a player. I should articulate it better through pings. Like, I should have pinged like that before I did this man drop. I'm trying to drop in behind blue, and it's a little bit unfortunate that the Voidling is here, because if the Voidling is not here, then I'm able to basically drop in inside of the Fog of War. Malzahar should be standing over here, and then Vi should be killing this with relatively low HP from what I saw her leave bot lane with. I would be able to kill Vi, and then I can collapse onto bottom, relieve pressure, go into Golems, into Wraiths, and then protect LeBlanc, move over to blue, kill Wolves, give blue, and then protect top. So this is a jungle path that's in my mind 2.5 minutes basically in advance. Now let's say that I kill Vi and I also get a kill onto bottom. Well, then the jungle path changes, and you always want to be thinking about all these obstacles that change in the second. So if I man drop here, kill Vi, go bottom, kill Soraka, we collapse, we get Drake, I go through mid, literally through it. basically tell Malzahar to back the fuck up, and then I move into Wolves, and I relieve all pressure off LeBlanc, and now I create Fog of War pressure on top lane, but also I create pressure on the left-hand side for Malzahar, because he just saw me walk through the right-hand side, and he knows that I have no business being on the right-hand side, considering that I showed that I have red buff, he knows that I took Dragon, and because there's nothing left for me to gank in bot lane. Unfortunately, the Voidling saw me, and you're going to see me get roasted. I could probably live here by flashing downwards. Obviously, you can see the frustration. So at this point, I just tell LeBlanc, like, trust me, please. Or give me trust, basically, is what it translates to. I see a teleport going down, so my first instinct is to basically just time that. I feel like I'm in a really good position, and because teleport just went down, I want to reassert my pressure and dominance on the map. So I just get mobility boots, and I rush right back in. So I just use the F keys to kind of just continue to monitor stuff. I see that Malzahar comes into mid lane on the minimap, but I also know that he doesn't really have a minion wave pushing in his favor. So it's not like he can do anything. Gnar ends up dying at top lane. Normally, I have a belief that you should always use Smite on little jungle camps, especially if you're going to leash a big buff, because the damage output on the big buff is going to be greater because you have two people doing it, whereas the singular buff, obviously it's just you, so you want to kind of maximize your HP efficiency by killing it quicker. One of the other reasons that you saw that I didn't use Smite on either the little buff or the big buff is because Drake is still a possibility. If I didn't have Flash and I don't have Mandrop, I would probably use Smite there, because there would be no logical way for me to actually stop Drake. So I'm just looking for Mandrop opportunity. I decide that I can't get it. Continuing to F key. And now I'm constantly looking for a gank opportunity. I want to be able to cover LeBlanc and bot lane at the same time, because Rumble's lane isn't really pushing, and it doesn't really seem like anything's going to be going on. When I see LeBlanc starting to go top lane, I also have to follow route, because I have to be able to protect her with my ultimate. At this point, you end up seeing me ult in from behind. And what this does is it basically creates unpassable terrain, because if they go into this line, they're going to end up getting hit by me, and it's going to be this perfect combo for Rumble. LeBlanc's even able to go into here, or she can continue to go into here, and it creates really safe routes, because now Rumble can go here if Gnar elects to kind of chase him downwards, and also LeBlanc's able to kind of get to me, especially if I run out of the bush. If they end up chasing me, or if I have to back off because of circumstances that arise, I'm able to get over to here, and LeBlanc and Rumble can kind of protect me from these points inside of this arc. So in this moment, I'm kind of trying to process exactly what's going to happen, okay? So I see Gnar here, I see Vi, Malzahar, etc. When I land, my first decision is going to be, well, who do I stun, Well, Malzahar is on relatively high cooldown right now, okay? And he's building into Roa, so I know he doesn't have any sort of CDR. Gnar's still in Mega Form, and he's not going to be going Tiny anytime soon, and Vi's relatively healthy. But because Gnar is in Mega Form and he's on top of my two teammates, the decision probably is going to be to peel and protect my teammates. I've run out of mana at this point, so I kind of have to back off until a situation arises that would be beneficial to me. So I just throw my spear, and I try to make it into this brush. When I make it into the brush, and I see that Vi is going to continue chasing me, I basically decide that... I basically decide that when she reaches here, my W will be off cooldown, and I'll have the mana for it, as you can see, 92. If I hit Vi with that, and then you factor in my mana regeneration, if she tries to run from me and LeBlanc can't follow up and capitalize on the damage, I'll also have a Q. That, in synergence with my true damage from Spirit of the Elder Lizard, plus my auto attack, would probably be able to kill her. Now at this point, all that I'm trying to look is, can we kill Malzahar? So LeBlanc pings it, which means that I'm on the same page as you. I say WW. And now if Malzahar stays here and he didn't move after the auto attack, he didn't issue like a movement command and he stayed inside of this position, we would have gone on him. If he stays here instead of moving to here, the decision would be to go on him. Now the decision no longer is to go on to him. It's to kind of run here and see if he'll follow suit and chase, in which case I can smite onto the jungle camps and I can try to accumulate more mana for an extended trade with LeBlanc. I use the jungle trinket to kind of see if he's chasing. I see that he's not, so I just ping onto the golem to basically say, hey, let's kill this. I drop a ward. It's kind of inefficient. This is actually a mistake of me. I shouldn't drop this ward so early because I should know that there's no way for them to actually be here. So this is actually a mistake by me. I've done a few mistakes this game. I see bot lane gets double kill, and now I know that I have free reign to basically just go back and recall safely. This is a little bit incorrect. I shouldn't be recalling here because it's kind of possible that they might have a ward here, which wouldn't be the best case scenario. Like, if there's a pink there, and I end up having to kill it and then move into my brush, maybe it entices Vi to kind of come after me at wolves, which can kind of ruin my recall in some ways. Even though LeBlanc's there to cover me up, she doesn't have the highest amounts of HP, and it kind of could disrupt her recall phase, and I don't want to do that. So now, with Gnar just kind of getting pummeled in top lane, and because LeBlanc's out of mid, I just look to farm right now and, you know, provide safety to bot lane and mid lane again. You always want to be thinking about your futuristic objectives and what you need to be doing for your laners. Vi shows up at top lane, and I realize there's nothing that I can do about it, so my first thought process is to kind of see if I can do anything at bottom. If I can't, then I'll re-go mid, and then I'll look to counter jungle. I see that Soraka's coming in here. So when Soraka comes in here, okay, the first thing to note is there's this ward, okay, and there's no way for me to clear this and then go in here and chase her, because then she might just be able to run to here, suicide into towers, or she could run to here, recall. So what ends up happening is I ping her likely location, and that means that LeBlanc's going to follow suit. Vel'Koz will come in from here, and I come in from here, and it'll be a Triforce ping. A tri-pronged attack. So I ping the ward, see if he's going to kill it. He's not. So then I basically say that, you know, we're going to come here. And I'm speaking with pings again because you don't want to type. I initiate W first rather than Q because the animation is quicker, and thus I don't want any chance of the recall thing going through at the very last second and she goes to base. So I spam ping onto Malzahar, I ping the location, and then I man drop. Always speak with pings. So I W him first to kind of just close the gap, and I want to get the stun, and I want to guarantee that LeBlanc has enough time to gap close. I didn't throw the W, which is a mistake on me. Again, there is a way to do both. And then I issue an auto attack command, but I see this go down, okay? So my first thought process when these two balls come down, and they're obviously going to hit me and silence me, is to not actually continue a full-on assault, because I also know that these minions are all going to start attacking me, and my HP might go relatively low, especially because he already has Roa. Even though LeBlanc's here, she probably can't burst him in time for him to actually kill me. So what you're going to see me do is I'm going to initially just back off before re-engaging. So I anticipate the pull, and now he does this onto me. I just auto attack that, and then I issue E from max range so that there's no chance of him doing anything. I just take only one creep from LeBlanc. You don't want to try to tax your laners too much, especially if it doesn't matter too much to you. And now I just go, I look at top lane, I saw that Vi died, and I again look at top lane and I kind of determine, well, is Gnar going to push it or not? Because if he's going to push it, then I have to actually change my route from going Wraiths red golems to now just go Wolves white top. You always want to be responsive or reactive to what your enemy team is doing, especially as the jungler. So at this point, I missed a CS there. It's pretty bad. But I'm just trying to maximize my time efficiency in top lane. And now I just want to recall, and I want to go into Last Whisper. A lot of people, they ask me, why do I go Last Whisper over Brutalizer on Pantheon? And the reasoning behind that is because my Runes and Mastery setup is very different from most Pantheons. I already am running CDR. So the CDR that Brutalizer would naturally give is kind of good in some situations, as well as the Armor Pen, but the Last Whisper works better for my Rune and Mastery setup, unless I'm really far behind and I am forced to go Brutalizer. In some cases, you'll see me go Last Whisper into Brutalizer, but you always want to build in consideration to the game. In some games, you're not going to get MOBA boots. Some games, you might not even get Last Whisper. Some games, you might not even get, you know, Last Whisper or Brutalizer. Like, everything is always going to be different, and learning to build in consideration to the game will make you a better player. So again, I'm not using Smite here, because I always want to keep the Smite up in the event of a counter jungle or anything that it comes important. But now with Vi and Gnar showing up in top lane, I know that, you know, we have pressure down in bot, but then I see Lucian and Vel'Koz take bot tower. And so I initiate pings onto Drake, I see that mid tower is relatively low, and I just kind of check my man drop range. Because if LeBlanc now can get back into mid lane, then I'm able to just drop onto him. Now the thing is I trinketed, you might have seen that I trinketed the brush right here, you'll see. And this basically, this blue trinket, okay, it's basically to say, hey, did Malzahar actually come here and is, you know, he recalling, or what is he doing? Is he trying to set up a trap? Maybe he's moving over here, maybe he's trying to come into here. You know, I just have to know exactly what's going on before I initiate my man drop. Because if I initiate my man drop blind and he's here, he can just go LOL, and he can run over to here and probably recall. Even though there's like Lucian and Vel'Koz, they would obviously not be able to get to him in time. So I initiate my man drop in what some people might consider a pretty awkward location. The reason that I issue it here is so that he can't go here, he can't go here, he can't go here, because I would be able to close the gap with W every single time. This kind of does force LeBlanc into a straight up 1v1, but I also know that if I have flash if things get too dicey. I also know that somehow if he like flash back to the tower or something, I could just auto attack the tower twice and kill it. Now, what you're about to see here is you're actually about to see me make some mistakes. For some reason, this pool was reminding me of Soraka, and I thought it was going to snare me. So you see me actually move all the way around it as if I'm somehow, like, saving myself time or something. I also didn't even consider that the minions already hit me, so the MOBA boots aren't even active right now. So it was all just really silly. I had some really bad DI movements and just pathing. I know that Blanc can get the kill, so I let her get it. But overall, I didn't have to waste flash there. But we got the kill anyway. Off the kill, my bot lane's able to continue pressure in bot lane. I see that Vi is in mid. She gets snared by LeBlanc. Now, if she doesn't get snared by LeBlanc here, okay, I don't chase her. But because she's snared by LeBlanc, I know that I can close the gap. So I hit the stun, and you realize as I hit the stun, I already initiated movements to move. I hit her, and as you can see, I'm spamming commands to attack and move forward at the same time. I'm trying to just take away from Riot's coding. Hit her with the red buff, hit her with the red buff, and then you just get the Heartseeker. And as you could see there, really quick, there was this quick little prong of E to get her into that Heartseeker range. Okay, so I know, okay, I can't hit her with an auto attack here. The Q will not kill her here, so I have to improvise. I have to come up with something. So I'm going to do an E animation cancel Q to get the Heartseeker's 100% bonus damage. It's always important, again, to know exactly how much damage all your spells do at every time, but also to have the avatar up on the player. Here, you're going to see me let the minions kill the tower, and the reason that you let the minions kill the tower is so that it's effectively zoning the enemy team out of plausible CS. So I just come up here, and I decide that I want the wave to continue pushing so that my team has full map vision and coverage over the map before I go into the jungle. I smite this because I know nothing's really going to be happening. And at this point, the game's pretty much over. If I do recall, I'm probably going to go into Guardian Angel, and the reason that I say that is because my team is so far ahead, okay? I don't want to just pick up another handgun and risk, the zombie bites me and somehow they're able to recuperate. No, instead, I just want to put on riot gear, and I want to make it so that no misstep, no mistake, no miscalculation, no, Vi pressing R from the Fog of War and I'm getting gimped by, a Nar Malzahar or something. I don't want that to occur. So I just go into Guardian Angel because I'm already dealing way more damage than Pantheons at this time normally deal, and I already have way more utility at this point than most Pantheons at this time normally have because of the way that the game turned out and how all the events took place. So I just continue to spam F key around to basically make sure I can see everything that's going on. And now we just kind of rush up mid. I have man drop so I can back them up so I know that we're going to end the game. I just kind of pinged the tower. I saw Ezreal go into the Fog of War off the top left, but I'm not going to bother chasing him or trying to kill him. That'd be pretty silly. Now here's just some KDA fodder. That's all that this is. And we end the game. So, that was pretty much that for this VOD. I hope you guys all enjoyed it, and if this gets good review and stuff, I'll probably end up doing more stuff like this. Again, this was just a lesson, and it wasn't a guide. Maybe I'll release a guide on Pantheon, I don't totally know, but hopefully this guide gives you a much better perspective of Pantheon thought processes, as well as jungle thought processes, because this is something that's definitely lacking on my channel, and a lot of people have asked for stuff like this. So I hope you all enjoy, and good luck playing Pantheon, or maybe your jungle just got better. Alright, bye!